Hi, theory in a nutshell, finding the key of a melody. These would be with a key signature, a melody given with a key signature. And this is kind of the level, or if you're doing RCM theory, level 5 or 6. So fairly early theory level. So there's a few things to remember when you're trying to find the key of a melody. We'll do a bunch of examples afterwards. You have two options. When you're given a key signature, it's either the major or the relative minor. There are no other options. There will be an outline of the tonic triad in the first bar or so, first bar or two. Somehow that tonic triad will be outlined. Melodies usually start on the tonic or dominant note of the key. They also start on the mediant. Those are generally the three different notes that would start on the tonic, the dominant, and the mediant. Melodies often, but not always, end on the tonic. Important, because I'll have a student say, well, it ended on an A, so it must be A major. Well, no. There's only two flats in the key signature. It can't be A major. Like if this is, you have to be a bit of a detective and go through a bit of a flow chart to figure out what key it is sometimes. Watch for any accidentals, which may be the raised leading tone of the minor key. You can have accidentals that are not that. You can have something called color accidentals that just kind of are there because the composer wanted that note there. Although we're not actually dealing with color accidentals at this level yet. In the next video I do about more advanced figuring out of key signatures, we'll talk about that. So for now, we're not going to really do that. So if in the examples we're doing there is an accidental, it will be the raised leading tone of a minor key. Now, this is something interesting. The raised leading tone of the minor key is the same note as the dominant of its relative major key, except it's not raised in the major key. This is actually really important, because it will help you. Now let's think about this for a minute. So here's a major key, C major, right? Okay, the dominant is G. Okay, so I said the raised leading tone of the minor key is the same as the dominant. So the dominant of C major is G. So the relative of C major is A minor. And the leading tone of A minor, the seventh note, is G, raised up half step sharp. So they're both a type of G, except the raised leading tone is raised. Right? So the dominant of the major is the raised leading tone of the minor. The raised leading tone of the minor is the not raised dominant of the major. That's important to note. It will help you. And also, a minor melody may not include the leading tone. So if you don't see an accidental, it doesn't mean it can't be a minor. The melody itself may not include the leading tone at all. So let's look at a couple of melodies. Here's the same melody. Just going slowly first of all. What are the two possible keys? We look at the key signature. It's G major or E minor. Those are only two possibilities. So know the tonic triad of both those keys. So G would be G, B, D, and E minor would be E, G, B. Okay? Now obviously there are a couple of notes you can see the same, but the note that's not the same is really important. Now, if there's no raised leading note, try the major key first. Check that one out first. And you're looking for the outline of the tonic triad. So our major key, if it is, would be G, B, D. So I'm going, okay, there's a G, B, D, D, B, 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 G. There's all over the place. You can see that in the very beginning, G, B, D right there, outlining the G major triad. This is definitely G major. But if you want to just check it out, and here comes that whole thing that the dominant of the major is a raised leading tone of the relative minor. If you're thinking E minor, E, G, B, right? There's no E here. There is a G and a B because there are two notes the same in the relative key, in the relative tonic triads. But remember, if you're in E minor, your raised leading tone is going to be a D sharp. And there are clearly D naturals here. Okay, G, B, D, you can see that outline right there. It's G major. Okay, let's try some more. Now, these are some melodies that do not start on the tonic note. It's because, again, I'll have people say, well, it didn't start on G, so how can it be G major? Right, so we've got to get that out of our mind. It does not start on the tonic note always. So, two possible keys. Here we are again with G major or E minor. Is there a raised note? In this one, nope, no raised note. So if not, I'm going to check the major key first. Okay, G, B, D, just like we did before. Well, there's a G, there's a B, there's a D, and there's a D. That's an awful, oh, there's another G and a G. That's awful lot of G, Bs, and Ds. Actually, you probably, bum, ba, da, 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 dum, bum, bum. That's that a minuet, famous minuet. So this is definitely G major, absolutely G major. Again, remember, E minor has a D sharp. This clearly has D naturals in it. Okay, so it's G major. Let's look at this one. 3 flats. So that's E flat major or C minor. Is there a raised note? Yeah, there's a raised note. There's a B natural. So now, because there's a raised note, I'm going to check the minor key first. So the tonic triad of C minor is C, E flat, G. Okay, there's a G and a C. Well, there's the dominant tonic. Dominant tonic right there. G, C. The E's over here. There's another C, but this B really, nails it. Because C minor would have a B natural. That's the raised leading tone. But it starts dominant tonic. This one did that too. D to a G, dominant tonic. That's quite common. Dominant tonic. Dominant tonic. Okay, to start a piece. It's fairly common. So this is definitely C minor, not E flat major. And here's one, again with the 1 sharp, G major and E minor. I'm looking through, are there any accidentals? Nope, nothing raised. We'll go with the G major, G, B, D, B, B, D, D, a B and a G over here, a couple of G's over here. Now, these ones start on the dominant. This, if it's in G major, starts on the mediant. A little less common. But again, this is a well-known dum bum 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 ba da da. This is Ode to Joy by Beethoven. Starts on the mediant because this isn't D G major. It's outlining the G major scale, really, right? The first 5 notes are all in here. Starting on the mediant. Again, remember in E minor, if you're still not convinced, ask yourself. Well, first of all, there's no E's around here, so there's like B. There is a B in E minor. There's a D, but there's no E's hanging out here at all. What is the raised leading tone? It would be a D sharp. Well, there's clearly D naturals here. Okay, so that one is G major as well. Now, there's a few more to look at. These one could start on anything, tonic, dominant, mediant. I just want you to have a few more to look at here. 2 possible keys, E flat major. I hope you're thinking about these in your own mind. C minor, is there a raised note? Nope, so I'm going to check major first. The tonic triad of E flat is E flat, G, B flat, E, B, G. Well, there we go. There's lots of E, G's, and B's right there. It goes right down to an E down there. There's another B there. The majority of the notes are E, G, B. This one even ends on an E flat. This is definitely E flat major. Right here, 2 flats. It's either B flat major, and I really do suggest you write them up here when you're trying to figure it out, instead of just doing them in your head. I find my students who do it in their head make more mistakes than those who actually have the visual and write it down. It's nothing wrong with writing down your thoughts, right? To keep things, because there's a lot of layers you have to think about in theory often. You have to check this, check that. Like I said, you have to be a bit of a detective with these sometimes, so you don't want to lose your train of thought. So B flat major or G minor. Okay, there's no raised note here, but that, we'll see. No raised note, so we're going to check major first. So the tonic triad would be B flat, D, F, B flat, D, but there's absolutely no F. Now remember that the dominant of the major triad is a raised leading note on the minor triad. So a little bit of a clue, there's no F in here, right? So there's no neon sign saying, ooh, I'm a raised leading tone, so I'm probably minor. So I'm not convinced it's B flat major because there's no F. There's a B and a D. And there's a lot of notes in between those B's and D's. And there's this big octave jump right here. Interesting. So I'm going to go check with G minor because I'm not convinced B flat major. G minor would be G, B, flat, D, because I also know that there was no raised leading tone. So here we go. G, B, D, and a G and a G. Right? So this is showing me that it's much more clearly G minor than it is B flat major. Right? And the fact that there is no leading tone has convinced me of that. So it's G minor. Okay, like I said, you don't always have the leading tone in the melody. Here, we've got D major or B minor. A, B, A, D, C. Anybody know what that song is? If you can look at those notes, try and sing it to yourself. So there's no raised notes, so I'm thinking in major first. That would be D, F, A. That's my tonic triad. There's an A, there's a D, there's an A. You know, so you've got a strong dominant tonic right here in the first bar. This is happy birthday. This is definitely D major. Okay. Down here we have 3 sharps, A major to F sharp minor. Is there a raised note? Oh, there's a raised note. Your E is raised. Big neon sign. Let's check it out. Because if it's a raised note, check the minor first. What's the raised leading tone of F sharp minor? Well, that would be an E sharp. Those are E sharps. Ah, so the tonic triad would be F, A, C, F sharp, A, C sharp, F, A, C. Well, there's lots of them right here. You've got the tonic triad right here. You've got your raised leading notes right here, leading tones right there. So this one is indeed F sharp minor. Right? So you've got to go through kind of the checklist of how to figure this out. Let's go over those again. You have 2 options, the major or the relative minor of the key signature. There will be an outline of the tonic triad in the first bar or 2. Not at the very end necessarily, but the first bar or 2. Melodies usually start on the tonic dominant or mediant of the key. Melodies often, but not always, end on the tonic. We didn't go so much about the end note, but be careful about that. It doesn't always end on the tonic. Watch for any accidentals, which may be the raised leading tone of a minor key. Very important. This one, to me, is really important, and a lot of people don't quite get this at first. The raised leading tone of the minor key is the same note as the dominant of its relative major key, except it's not raised in the major key. That's really important, right? Because that will help you. If you're not sure, check that out. And a minor melody may not include the leading tone in the melody. It just might not be there. So there's no neon sign going, oh, I'm minor. Anyway, I hope this helped.